Hello and welcome to the third day Assembly Audit. This session is a 4-day session and today is the third day. We have seen a lot of discussions and even though the opposition has been 6 or 7, there have been a lot of issues which have come up, so starting with Made. So I would like to, before we get into any more details, without wasting any more time, I would like to introduce our very senior audience here. Ashley Rosario, senior journalist. Ashley, welcome. Trajan Di Mello, senior member of the TMC. Trajan, welcome. Siddharth Kungolekar, former Panjim MLA and a very senior.
Namaskar.
Siddharth, welcome. Mohan Deshprabhu, very, very senior politician, my good friend from the Congress. Mohan Bab, welcome. And last but not the least, Siddesh Bhagat from Siddesh Bhagat. Siddesh Bhagat, welcome. So, actually now, since you are the non-political entity among all, I would like you to give us a general, the past 3 days and tomorrow going forward for the big Made discussion.
So basically this is the winter session. Okay. Formally this used to normally be held in December, but now it has been held now in January, and I believe that cutting short the session to just 4 days, it is basically a legislative compulsion that the government is fulfilling. That is all.
I mean, having the session.
Having the session, yes. So what was the main, if you read the BAC report, what were the main agendas before this session? Was a supplementary demand, whatever shortfall in finances that the various departments are facing after utilizing the budgets that have already been voted for, they come up with this supplementary second batch of supplementary demands, so to offset the expenditure of the government for the next 3 months till March 31st. So that was one essential requirement, legislative requirement that the government had to fulfill before March 31st. So that was one legislative compulsion that the government had to fulfill. So they did that. Since it is the first session of the year, by convention, it has to be started off with the customary governor's address. So cramping it to just 4 days, out of which 1 day went with the governor's address, reduce the importance of this particular winter session in a way. And then after the government had already decided the schedule of this session, this whole Made issue kind of overshadowed the whole session. So on day one itself, the atmosphere of confrontation between the opposition and the government had already built up over the Made issue. So it started off on this very confrontationist note on day one, when the governor took the podium to start his address, and the opposition raised this issue that the governor should start off with a statement on such an important issue that has dominated the state and stoked emotions across the state, which, if you go by the importance of the issue, was a legitimate demand from the opposition in a way. But since that confrontationist atmosphere between the government and the opposition had not been thawed until then, you require what you call it is that quality of statesmanship among the politicians involved within those 40 members to bring this thawing of that confrontationist atmosphere between the government and this thing, to make sure that the legislature runs as per the agenda that has been finalized by the BAC and the speaker and the whole government. So it started off on that note on Made, and then what happened was, I don't know whether it is an oversight or whether the governor's speech was prepared well in advance before this whole Made issue cropped up or whatever. But the governor not even mentioning Made in that whole nearly 1 hour address, of course, stood out in the whole. So whatever he said got ignored, and this whole omission of Made in his entire 1 hour speech is what made news on day one. And then in the evening you had that other political big event in the home constituency of the chief minister. So that kind of echoed in the next day as well, yesterday. That whole Made thing echoed yesterday as well in bit of the discussions. And then yesterday you had that whole question hour debate over the excessive expenditure of the government on these, government functions being outsourced to event management companies. And so this whole questions and supplementary questions that were posed by the opposition members, including Vijay and the opposition leader Yuri and a few of the others. So that was the big news of day 2. And day 3, until the recess, the tea break now, I think the highlight was the whole discussion during the question hour on the, today was the day of the PWD minister. So the recruitment scam, the so-called alleged recruitment scam, and the government making a statement that they will rehold the examination for the entire 400 candidates who appeared for the junior engineer, the